But it's time for press review. We take a look at the papers. Now, our Bernard Wakoli is stuck in traffic somewhere, so the show must go on. We're going to take a look at the papers and just see a sneak preview of what's making headlines, just you and I. Now, let's start off with the Business Daily. The top story today on that paper is Watchdog Fight KRA bid to fix alcohol prices. Now, this is a dispute between the taxman and obviously vendors. Now, the taxman orders a minimum price of spirits at 150 to boost excise duty. I'm sure there are a few business people that are quite invested in that particular story. But a bigger story that has made headlines, as I told you earlier, across board, is that date with the EACC that was quite chaotic. That is regarding Mike Sonko, Nairobi governor, and he's been pictured across board, even on the Business Daily. We are told he's seen right there. Sonko EACC drama. Governor Sonko, surrounded by bodyguards, arrives at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption headquarters for interrogation yesterday, and some journalists were caught up in the fiasco. Some were hurt, some had their pants torn, as we saw in a story earlier. This is a story that's also on the top page of the Daily Nation. We're seeing Mike Sonko's chaotic day to the EACC, still reflected right there. More details of that are on page 4 of that paper. Until Nairobi governor heads for questioning at the EACC, and this is following his alleged criminal past, and we heard his sound bites earlier on saying when he was charged and how the sentence that he had. Then the Star is still on that, on their top story. They have a splash right there that says reluctant Sonko appears before the EACC amid chaos. And we did hear his sentiments. He said, is he the only governor? I mean, I don't know if they're taking turns with the EACC and certain allegations, but clearly he is tired of the 4 times that he has had to make his way to the EACC headquarters in order to answer 2 questions owing to some of the sentiments he gave as he was trying to qualify to vie for governor of Nairobi, which he did and obviously won. Now let's take a look at the top page of the Daily, of the Standard rather. We've told we've destroyed Kenya, says Uhuru's MP. Now, ledger of failures. Gatundu South MP asks Parliament to execute an executive to apologize to Kenyans for cooking books, taking expensive loans, receiving kickbacks, and lying about the state of the economy. We say he further says that the Parliament, they have failed in their oversight role, and they have sold Kenyans a rather romantic story that does not reflect on the ground or reflect the reality of the country, and therefore he feels they owe Kenyans an apology. Therefore, I mean, this is a story that is also is covered adversely, or rather it's an interview whose details are being reflected on page 4 of that paper. State cooked books and lied about its debts. This is according to Moses Kuria. We have more sentiments for economist Kwame Owino and Kiambu MP Jude Njomo being given right there. You could read more about this alleged misdirecting of the executive of the people, so that you can know more about what he is talking about. Nat is making the headlines as well for the second day in a row. This is on the Daily Nation. We're told Nat tells off TSC of a plot to kill the union. Teachers' body rejects a notice by employer to terminate a collective bargaining agreement of a number of members, insists it has a majority. Now, this is the second day in a row whereby of having that story making headlines, and obviously we have had the back and forth between Wilson Sossion, the SG of NAT, and the TSC. We know that he was deregistered as a teacher, and obviously there has been a lot of tension between the two bodies. Obviously, this is just a continuation of that. Now, on the political front, the Daily Nation is telling us about NASA. They're at a point of no return. This is according to the paper. Coalition now on its deathbed as partners go for each other's jugular. And of course, this is with the backdrop of that upcoming Kibra by-election. You're told on page 5 of the paper, vicious war in Kibra, campaign sounds death knell for NASA. And obviously, we know these are political parties that came together to increase their political clout. But this is resulting, as they're going for that seat in Kibra, it's resulting in rifts, and obviously they are reconsidering their situations. And the story from on Governor Sonko and that chaos is still on that same part of the paper. We told on page 4, we told chaos at Sonko, goons storm anti-corruption offices, and obviously details about the journalists who were hurt are also covered right there. And what more? We also have Mudavadi Mudavadi saying Raila is a political burden to Kenya. We know that he has not had very kind words to say about the coalition and former opposition leader Raila Odinga. And obviously this is being covered on the top page of the Star. And last but not least, I'd like to bring your attention to the Standard, where we are told that MPs vote with the banks to return expensive loans. Now, this is being touted as the borrower's pain. Big victory for bankers after MPs fail to turn up in good numbers to protect Kenyans from high interest rates. Lenders now have a blank check to charge as they deem fit. Now, this is also on the Business Daily, understandably it being a business paper. We are told rate cap ends after House quorum hitch. And we did hear the sentiments that came from the Speaker, saying that the outcome of this vote is because they do not have the right numbers. And we are being given a breakdown of those bank share price movement. And we have an outline from Barclays, Cooperative, DTB, Equity, HQ, I&M, KCB, NCBA, Stanbic Bank, Stanchart, and all the other banks. And far from that, still on the business front, we have KCB lays off all Mumia's workers after debt-ridden farms take over. And this is news that broke yesterday. To get more details on it, you need to be reading the Business Daily today. And that wraps up Press Review. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll have that convergence with Vibes Radio. Today we're talking about food security or the lack thereof. What are the solutions? Let's take a break.